agency. So what I see happen so incredibly often is that you're so stuck in the day-to-day of client delivery and getting other things done within your agency that you don't actually spend time actually investing into the business. And so this ultimately creates this situation where ultimately you are kind of in this living in hope place where you're, if this is a timeline here, you are in this place where you're kind of going like this, right? Where business goes up and down over time. And what happens is you win a new account, and then you've got to execute on the work. So you kind of just stay still, and then you lose the project or the client goes away. And then ultimately you end up in the exact same place, and you recognize, oh, I've got to go do more work, or I've got to go get more clients. And then you get that client, and then you end up in the exact same place. So you're spending a lot of time kind of just exactly staying in the same place. You're kind of on a treadmill, and it creates a lot of tumultuousness. And it's actually one of the most frustrating places to be in business, is in that kind of cycle, that kind of rat race. Ultimately, the mistake ultimately that most people make here is that they're really not investing either time or financial resources into the business. So you need to be considering both of them. And so the opportunity from this training this week is for us to understand how we are going to actually be able to invest into the different areas of your agency that allows for you to be able to have success and ultimately be able to accomplish your goals. Really thinking about it is this kind of mindset, right? Is that if you're looking at the stock market, but you haven't invested anything, and you're watching a stock and you see it grow, and ultimately you're kind of upset about the fact that the stock market's doing really well and you see lots of people making money, but you haven't. It's the exact same thing, really, is that if you're not investing into your business or into yourself, you end up in exactly the same place. So kind of high level, what we are going to be going through today is the primary distinctions or primary areas that you need to be considering when you're actually investing into your agency. And so we want to allocate the two different components, time and money, into your agency, and what percentages you're going to be investing into each. So in your workbook, if you were to just grab this page within your workbook, you see the primary different sections. So you've got investment in marketing. So being able to actually generate leads, bringing in new business. You have investment in your systems or process within the agency. So your SOPs, how exactly you're going about delivering. You have an investment into the product, the service that you're actually delivering. So thinking about it from how do you actually up-level the quality of what you are doing, or the result that ultimately comes in for the client. Investment into your team. So how do you get the team ultimately to be able to up-level themselves as well, and being able to actually extract yourself from a lot of the things that are typically holding agency owners back on a day-to-day and what's actually going on. And then you have investment into yourself, which is actually how do you actually up-level yourself as a business owner, entrepreneur, or agency owner. So what I want you to do is I want you to actually break down both time and money along the lines of every single one of these, right? So some of you have financial resources that you can invest into these different areas, and some of you only have the time available to be able to do both, right? And so ultimately thinking about what financial resources do I have that I can actually invest into the business? And if I don't have that, what time can I invest? Because there's ultimately ways that you can go about investing into each one of these. And I'll talk about them kind of in broad strokes here in a moment, of the types of things that you can be doing in each, and ultimately depends on who your ideal client is, what exactly it is your service offering, and how exactly you can get in front of them and where ultimately they are. So if you have financial investment, you want to think about these, and we did actually put them in order of how you want to think of them, right? So I want you to think about each one of these, and in order for you to be able to have the financial resources, you have to have the business to be able to do so, right? So I want you, if you have financial resources, I want you to prioritize first growing your taking that money and actually being able to turn it into more by investing into marketing and lead generation and ultimately sales. That is one of the first areas that you want to consider. And then you can start to invest in the others. So if you don't have any of financial resources at all, then you're going to go ahead and start to break them down in just time of what you can actually have. So let's say that you have 8 hours a week that you can invest into the business, or even 4, and just start with whatever time you currently have available. At a minimum, I would say you want to do 2 hours a week. I'm typically asking our clients to invest 8 to 10 hours a week into growing their business. And it's within these different areas and creating a focus within which one is going to have the most immediate impact. The way that I like to think about investment into the business is ultimately what is going to allow for me to accomplish that next level of growth, right? So let's say that you are currently at $20,000 a month in revenue and you're looking to get to $35,000 a month in revenue. And so what is going to actually move the needle there, right? Do you have the team in place that's going to allow for you to do so? If you were to add more team members, do you actually have the capacity within the business? Do you personally have the capacity within the business to be able to do so, right? So how do you actually allow for you to be, what is the biggest blocker for you to be able to get to the next stage of growth? If you have the leads already and it's really more of a, hey, I need more time, which is likely more of a process-oriented thing, the number 2 item here, in order for you to be able to have the capacity to be able to do so. So I want you to say that if we have an 8-hour timeline, we're going to spend 2 to 3 hours a week here, and then we're going to spend 1 to 2 hours a week in the process-oriented piece, and then we're going to spend another hour or so in product and another hour or so investing in the team. So recognizing ultimately that how exactly we're able to actually do that, and another hour, 1 to 2 hours, in investing in yourself. So just thinking about how exactly you can do so and breaking it down of what is going to move the needle the quickest for you. And there's ultimately loads of different ways that you can do that. From a marketing perspective, it could be doing LinkedIn lead generation, it could be content creation, it could be cold email outreach, it could be picking up the phone and doing outbound calling. Some of these cost money and some of them don't. It's ultimately a time investment. If you're not doing it, obviously, then it would have a money investment because it would be in your team or an outside freelancer doing that work. Investment into process, largely, it's either, again, it's going to be either your team or you. So it's either time or money with your team to be able to do so. An investment in product is essentially the same thing. Along the lines of each one of these, you're going to be thinking about them more in, is it the team or is it you? The investment itself is largely overlooked. And one of the most important pieces to be able to allow for you to get to the place that you need to be. And a lot of people do not think about this. And for me, I am spending a significant amount of time every week reading, up-leveling who I am and being able to help my clients more and being able to help myself as well in business, and what exactly are the skills that I need in order to be able to get to the next stage of growth for myself, or to be able to improve the results that my clients are getting as well. So I'm reading books, I'm reading trade magazines, I'm constantly staying on top of things on an ongoing basis. I mean, last week I read, the week before last actually, so this past week I only read 1, but the week before last I actually read 3 books, going through understanding a couple of different items that I was actually wanting to up-level for my team and some management-oriented things, as well as looking at some ways for me to let go of a couple of things, so kind of founder dilemmas oriented stuff, but ultimately allowing for me to be able to invest in myself to allow for me to grow. So I want you to think and spend some time with this worksheet, and what time or financial resources do you have right now to allow for you to invest into your business and allow for you to be able to grow. It's a massively important thing for you to get out of that kind of cyclical, treadmill oriented or rat race oriented place that's creating this tumultuousness in your business and having you spending loads of time to stay in the same place. Looking forward to seeing in the comments below of how you're planning on investing either your financial resources or your time into the business. Looking forward to seeing all of you grow.